أعوذ بالله السميع العليم البصير من الشيطان الرجيم من همسه ونفخه ونفثه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيدنا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. بجاه سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله، إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى. الحمد لله رب العالمين، أهل لكل الحمد والشكر والثناء الجميل، ونصلي ونسلم على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيدنا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين، آمين. وبعد، الحمد لله رب العالمين. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the only one who is worthy of all praises and adoration. We thank him, we adore him, we glorify him. We do seek his blessings and mercies in abundance being showered upon the noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his companions, households, followers, until the day of account and beyond. Ameen. Fellow seekers of the truth, fellows in humanity, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We welcome ourselves to the continuation of Ramadan spiritual Delicacies, the spiritual traits in the garden of Ibn Attaillahi as-Sakandari's aphorisms, the Ikam of Ibn Atta'illah as-Sakandari. So this is a recording, a repetition of aphorism 210 that we earlier conducted today. That was 40, that had no voice. We have to redo it again. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us right. So today, this recording is for night 17th of Ramadan 1446, corresponding to the 18th of March 2025. So the theme of the aphorism is the disparity of light of wisdom according to the status in the heart. Part 4. So this is in continuation of the previous few days aphorism that we have treated in the light of wisdom and according to the status in the heart. So whereby the anwarun fil qulubi mawrudun ila al-qulub, okay, wa anwarun wuridat ila al-qulubi fadakhalat. Okay, so some form of light that arrives at the gate of the heart and go back, and the other one, the one that arrives at there, enters and sat down there and is permanent there. So now, what is the continuation of this is, so what are those things that allows for the stay and the permanence of the divine light in the heart? And one of them is what we want to mention in this aphorism. And in line with that, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah At-Tawbah, Ayah 24, where it says, Bada a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. قل إن كان آباؤكم وأبناؤكم وإخوانكم وأزواجكم وعشيرتكم وأموال اقترفتموها وتجارة تخشون كسادها ومساكن ترضونها أحب إليكم من الله ورسوله وجهاد في سبيله فتربصوا حتى يأتي الله بأمره والله لا يهدي القوم الفاسقين. So the interpretation of which is, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tell them and tell people around you. And incidentally, we are telling and asking ourselves, in kana aba'ukum, if your fathers wa abna'ukum, your children, wa ikhwanukum, your brothers, wa azwajukum, your spouses, wa ashiratukum, and your families, wa amwalun iktaraftumuha, and the wealth that you have amassed, wa tijaratun takshawna kasadaha, and tradings and businesses that you are afraid of losing, wa masakinun tardonaha, and your peaceful abode, settlement, houses, estates, if all this that we have counted, ahabba ilaykum min Allah wa rasulihi, are more beloved unto your heart than Allah and His Messenger, wa jihadin fi sabilihi, and striving on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fatarabbasu, then you should wait, you should expect the response and the what is deserved of that. Hatta ya'ti Allahu bi amrihi. Expect the commandments of Allah. Expect the decision of Allah on you soon. Fatarabbasu hatta ya'ti Allahu bi amrihi. Then continue doing that until the commandments of Allah will come. That is, either you are victored or until death comes to take your soul, then you're going to see. Wallahu la yahdi al-qawm al-fasiqin. Allah does not guide to his path the group of the unbelievers. Okay, so here the point here is that in the ayah, so there are two things. There are two options. Option number one, which is the more preferable, loving Allah and His messengers and striving on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is number one. The second one is jettisoning the love of Allah and His Prophet and the striving on His cause for the love of materialities. And these materialities including fathers, parents, children, offspring, progenies, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, families, assets, wealth, money, businesses, and so on and so forth, our houses, estate, and all the landed properties. So it's either we choose those or we choose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that exactly is the point of aphorism 210, where Ibn Atta'illah as-Sakandari says, ما أحببت شيئا إلا كنت له أبدا وهو لا يحب أن تكون لغيره أبدا. So there is no way you can fall in love with a thing without being a servant to that thing. Because and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not love that his servant become a servant to another thing other than him. So meaning to say, if you fall in love according to the previous ayah, قُلْ إِنْ كَانَ آبَاؤُكُمْ وَأَبْنَاؤُكُمْ, okay, and so on and so forth. So if all those that we have mentioned in that ayah, if they are more beloved to you, there is no way you are going to fall in love with any of them that you are not going to be like to them like slave. So meaning to say you have divided attention to them. So if that is what you want, then choose them, leave Allah. But if it is Allah that you want, so then you leave them, or you do to them, you relate to them in a way that will make you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah is the one that has also commanded us to love those people around us. So if their love will lead you to the love of Allah and increase it, then it is a part of love of Allah. But if loving them will take you, will distance you from away from Allah, then that is not the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so ma ahbabta shay'an illa kunta lahu abdan. So there is no way you can blindly fall in love with anything without being a servant to that thing. وَهُوَ اللَّهُ يُحِبُّ أَن تَكُونَ لِغَيْرِهِ عَبْدًا. And Allah does not love that you be a servant to anything other than Him. So the point here is that we love for Allah's sake, and those things that will lead us to increase in the love of Allah. So that will be better, that will be good. But if we notice that we are inclined to a particular thing or a particular person, and the love of that inclination is actually distancing us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the earlier we dissociate ourselves from such a thing, the better. Allah does not like finding in our heart the love of anything that will distance us from Him. Okay, so we are created for Allah, for His ibadah, and for nothing else. He doesn't ask us of anything. He has guaranteed everything for us. So literally, the aphorism means you do not love something except that you become a slave, and Allah doesn't love that you be a slave to other than Him. So that is exactly the point of the aphorism. So in the interpretation of Sheikh Abdul Majid Asharnobi, he says, Ayyuhal Murid, O you beloved seeker of the truth, disciple, Ma ahbabta shay'an min al-ashya'i illa kunta lahu abdan. There's no way you're going to fall in love with something, okay, with something that its love does not lead you to the love of Allah without being a servant to that thing. Meaning, munqadan, okay, following that thing blindly, as stated poetically in this poetic narration, that إذا لعب الرجال بكل شيء رأيت الحب يلعب بالرجال. Okay, so it simply means that men would have ability to play over everything, to play with everything, to prank everything. But there's one thing that human being cannot prank on, and that is love. So إذا لعب الرجال بكل شيء رأيت الحب يلعب بالرجال. إذا لعب الرجال بكل شيء رأيت الحب يلعب بالرجال. Although men could pretend playing over everything, but we see love and affection towards a thing playing over man's heart. So, and as such, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, la yuhibbu an takuna li ghayrihi abdan. He doesn't love that you, a beloved disciple, seeker of Him, become a servant to any other thing apart from Him. La yarda bidhalika. He's not pleased with it. He doesn't approve it. Okay, according to the hadith that says, Ta'asu abdul dinar, ta'isa abdul dirham, wal khumisa, wal qatifa, wal zawja. So what an irrational way that is, he is ridiculed. He is less valuable. Okay, he has fallen down from an important position. Who is the person? Abada dinar. So someone who works always for coins money, and someone who follows always paper money. While khamisa, someone who is more concerned about textile affiliation than any other thing. While qatifa is bed, while zawja and wife. So such a person has declined into condescended so low, okay, in rationality. Okay, according to Imam Junaid, he says, إنك لن تكون على الحقيقة له عبدا وشيء مما دونه لك مسترق. So there is no way you can be a real and true servant for Allah, whereby there is another thing other than Him that is occupying your heart, that is stealing and taking your attention from Him. Okay, وَإِنَّكَ لَن تَصِلَ إِلَى صَرِيحِ الْحُرِّيَّةِ وَعَلَيْكَ مِنْ حُقُوقِ عُبُودِيَّةِ بَقِيَّةٌ. So there is no way you can achieve a clear freedom, a true meaning of freedom, while you still have the remnant of slavery, the right of remnant slavery on you. So if you still have a kind of slavery in your heart, so there is no way you can claim that you are completely free. So meaning to say, being with Allah sets you free. But when you have another thing entangled to your mind, then you become a slave to that thing. فَإِنَّ الْمَكَاتِبَ عَبْدٌ مَا بَقِيَ عَلَيْهِ دِرْهَمٌ. And those who are under loan, okay, those servants who are under loan of payment, they still remain servants in as much as there is still at least a single penny or a cent remaining on them to be paid. So they still remain servants. So in as much as we have anything apart from Allah in our heart, then we become servants to those things. So the point here is that أن محبة شيء ملزمة للعبودية له. So the love, the blind love of a particular thing or object, to necessitate the servitude to that thing. فاجعل محبتك لمن تلزمك عبوديته. So therefore, as a seeker of the truth, you should direct all your love and affection towards the one to whom your servitude is worthy. وَتَعُودُ عَلَيْكَ بِغَايَةِ النَّفْعِ عِنَايَتُهُ. And from whom you expect the utmost care and the utmost reward to come and to come back to you through his servitude. So وَلَيْسَ ذَلِكَ إِلَّا مَوْلَاكَ. And the person that deserves that from you is only your Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَإِنْ أَحْبَبْتَ غَيْرَهُ لَا مِنْ حَيْثُ النِّسْبَةِ لَهُ أَغْضَبْتَهُ لِأَنَّهُ لَا يَرْضَى الشَّرِكَ. So if you love any other thing that is not connecting you to him, then you have deserved his anger. You have caused him to get angry at you. لأنه لا يرضى الشركة, because he does not approve any association. وأما إذا أحببت غيره من حيث النسبة له. But if you fall in love with any other thing in order to connect you closer to him, such as your love for the prophets, your love for his messengers, your love for rightly guided scholars, your love for the pious people and righteous people, فَهُوَ مِنْ بَابِ الْحُبِّ فِي اللَّهِ. So that is also a part of loving for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَهُوَ مَحْمُودٌ بِلَا اشْتِبَاهٍ. And it is praiseworthy and it is much appreciated without any confusion. So if you find out that what you love is taking you closer to Allah, then you continue with that. Okay, that is a part of love of Allah. But the moment you see that that thing is taking you afar, distancing you away from Allah, then you stop it. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us a good understanding of this. So the summary is that there are two things that cannot be combined together in one heart. Number one, love of Allah or love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and love of or love for other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's either you keep Allah there or you keep another thing there. Okay, so if you decide for the divine light, that is, if we decide to have the divine light inside our heart, then we have to purge our heart of all creatures that will not lead us to him. Otherwise, we don't have him present in us. So the right thing is to purge our heart of all the things that will not connect us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us better understanding of this. So the supplications on nights of Ramadan, night number 17, as usual, observation of 2 rakas of Qiyam with Surah Al-Fatiha and Surah Ikhlas 3 times on each of the rakah. And after Taslim, we recite the following. Subhanaka anta Allahu al-fardu samadu. Subhanaka anta Allahu al-fardu samadu. Subhanaka anta Allahu al-fardu samadu. Literally, it means, glory be to you, Allahu, the lonely, the eternal. We recite it 66 times, 96 times, or 106 times as we could, as much as we could. Okay, so many benefits are attached to this. One of it is that the observer will be granted ease in sustenance, and ease of our expectations will always be fulfilled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the virtue of his name, Allahu al-Fardu as-Samadu, to grant us ease in sustenance and to grant us to fulfill our expectation at all times. إنه على ذلك قدير وبالإجابة جدير نعم المولى ونعم النصير. So we stop here until we meet in the next aphorism, inshallah. I surrender myself and everybody under the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in whose protection nothing is missed and lost. أستودعكم ونفسي في رعاية الله الذي لا يضيع ودائعه. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.